Hello everybody, it's ToastBomb here. Today we're going to be talking about how to stay positive and give positive constructive feedback. Now, a lot of times on message boards I see really horrible comments like, "This game sucks," and that's not helping anybody. All you've done there is just wasted your time for writing that comment, wasted other people's time for reading that comment, and made someone feel bad because you said their product or whatever sucks. Developers and other people just in general would be much more happy if you actually told them why this thing sucks and how to improve upon it. That way they actually have a jumping off point on how to actually fix this issue that everyone's complaining about. Now you might ask, well, ToastBomb, how do I learn this amazing thing that you call constructive feedback? And I would say, well, it's easy. All you need to know are 3 steps. First step is you need to state what you don't like. So we could give an example like Bloom sucks. A lot of people don't like Bloom, and there was a very controversial thing in Reach. So yes, now you've said Bloom sucks. If you stop there, that would be another example of bad, crappy feedback that doesn't help anybody. But if you move on to step 2, we can improve it vastly. Step 2, you say why you don't like it. So you could say, I don't like Bloom because it takes away from the skill of the game and makes aiming completely random. So that helps. It lets developers know why this thing is bad, but it doesn't really let them know how to improve upon it. So that's where step 3 comes in. Step 3 is telling them how you think it could be improved or fixed. So you could say, Bloom could be better if you made it more like Shadowrun, where you shoot once and the reticle goes to like half the size of the screen, but resets in the same time period. So that way spammers won't be rewarded for spamming, but rather their shots will just go all over the place, left and right, like 90 degrees to the left, not going anywhere near where they're actually aiming. So those good, skillful, timed shots will reward actually good players. So that'd be an example of positive, constructive feedback for the developers. And they would much rather have this, so they actually have a jumping off point for where they can start fixing this issue. Also, using this positive constructive feedback is just more likely for you to actually get what you want out of them, because you're actually telling them what the issue is. Other than just broadly saying this game sucks, they have no idea what to do. So how are they supposed to fix it if that's what you want them to do? It makes no sense. Yet a lot of people still do this. Second thing is to stay positive. Whenever you see some new feature or thing that's being added to the game, a lot of people just instantly write it off as the worst thing ever, and the world is going to end because this new thing has been added and it sucks. And I see this all the time on message boards, and it's terrible. What you should rather do is look at this and find the possible cool implications of this and how it could improve the game and add to it, make it better and more interesting. An example could be like the Ordnance drop system. When that was first announced, a lot of people just hated the idea of the random spawns. They said it's going to take away from the game, you're not going to be able to set up for your weapons, and it's going to be terrible. But you could also look at it and say, alright, in the past, you only needed to know one way to set up for rockets. Only one. That's easy. A baby could remember how to set up for one rocket. And just a few times. But with this new system, you're going to need to know how to set up for 4, 5, maybe even more locations for where those rockets are going to spawn. And you're never going to know when. So you're going to have to play on your tiptoes and be right on it when those rockets spawn. You're going to need to be able to set up quick, fast, and efficiently to be able to get them, and that will broaden the skill gap and let good players prevail because it won't be so easy to set up for the rockets and make it less random. Something like that. That would be a example of staying positive and looking at the positive side of things. But this is also not to say that you shouldn't look at the negatives, because if you're not critical enough about something, you could let something that's glaringly obvious slip through the cracks and it could be disastrous, and it could make the game terrible. So you should really try to look at both sides of it, the positive and the negatives, find the pros and the cons of this new thing, and find out maybe how it could be improved, use that positive feedback, and get it how it's to just the perfect state where it's awesome. But I am kind of mostly emphasizing on the positive side of things, because that's not where most people seem to go. They seem to see something and instantly just go to the bad side, not even think about the positive side, and stick with that thought, with that way of thinking, and never turn back on it. Just keep on saying it's terrible, it sucks, and that, again, just doesn't help anybody. So remember, just try to look at both sides of the coin. And if you ever find yourself writing one of those terrible comments where it's just, this game sucks, Bloom sucks, the sniper sucks, where you're not giving any sort of constructive feedback, catch yourself, because it can happen to anybody. A lot of times it's when you're kind of frustrated with something, something like that. I've caught myself a few times doing it, even with the Promethean vision in those past videos. I was pretty critical about it, and I was kind of on this one-track mind sort of thing, but a lot of people in the comments started talking about other ways and ideas that this thing actually isn't as terrible as I thought it was, and opened my eyes to a lot of new things that I never thought about before, and now I'm kind of turning around on it, kind of seeing it that it's maybe not so bad as I originally thought. But catch yourself doing that stuff and ask yourself why it's terrible, type that down, and then ask yourself, well, how could it be improved? And also type that down. That'll make everything much more smoother and keep everything a lot more positive. And of course, stay positive. Look at both sides of the coin, good or bad. Also, I kind of said you a lot of time in this video, just to let you know, I'm not specifically talking about anybody. I'm not talking about my subscribers or anything. It's been awesome in the comments. You guys have just been great. Again, if you have any ideas about this, anything, post in the comments. We can talk about it. But I was just using that "you were" just as a general term, if that didn't come off like that for whatever reason. But anyways, that's just about gonna do it for this video. If you liked the video, you can leave a like or a comment. If you really like the video, you can subscribe, because I post new Halo videos every day. Okay, one thing that I want to mention is that some people were a little bit confused in thinking that the videos that I'm showing in the commentaries are actually me playing. These are not me playing. These are other people posting these YouTube videos, whether it's Machinima, GameSpot, just some random person playing it at some random event, playing Halo 4 and recording it and posting it on YouTube. I try to always post the link to the original video in the description, so you can click that there if you want to thank them for uploading it, or like that, or just watch their version of it, because sometimes they have their own commentary. Like this one right now has like two guys talking about the game from Machinima. So if you want to check that out, you can. Link will be down in the description. Thanks.
And you should feel that.
Yeah, and it feels like the big weapon drops are actually more random. Like rocket launcher wasn't here at the beginning of the match.
Like they just have certain areas where the power uppers weapons do it.
Yeah, so those numbers are way off.
Yeah.